Hey there, we are the Study Buddies. In today's mathematics addition video, we'll be looking at division between polynomials. So before we move into polynomials, let's focus on a simple example of a division in order for me to explain 4 new terms which you will need to understand and remember when you face questions involving polynomials. So let's say I have a question of 50 divided by 7 equals to question mark. So let's go back to the whole basic method of how you learned to solve division without a calculator. So without a calculator, what you would do is that you would put something like this, write 50 inside and 7 outside. So how do you solve this question? So you see your first number 5, you can't divide it with 7, so you go to the second number, you would put answer 7, 49. So 50 minus it with 49, you will get a remainder of 1. So this is from this answer or this working, I'm going to explain these 4 terms to you. So first of all, number 50. So number 50 is actually called the dividend. So dividend can also be expressed as p to the bracket of x. So in this case, px is equal to 50. Okay, so next let's look at this number 7. Okay, so this number 7, which is beside the number or which isn't the answer, which is in the question, is actually called a divisor. So divisor is written in short form as d to the bracket x. So in this question, the divisor is 7. So next we are going to look at the answer we obtained from this equation. So from this question, which is a 7 as well. And this answer, we do not call it as answer when it is a division, we call it as quotient. And quotient is denoted as q to the bracket of x. So the quotient for this question is also 7. And lastly, if you notice this question, there is a remainder over here, which is called number 1. So remainder is expressed as r to the bracket x, and the answer for this remainder is 10. So these are the 4 important terms you would need to remember when you face a question involving polynomials of division. So now let's take a look at this example. Divide 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4 with x minus 2. So first step, what we are going to do is we are going to identify the dividend and the divisor. So in this case, the dividend is 6x cubed, this whole equation. So usually a simple tip to remember dividends have the highest degree compared to the divisor. So in this case, the dividend is, or px is equal to 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4. And on the other hand, the divisor or dx is equal to x minus 2. So in this case, now we are asked to do a division of px and dx. So it's going to be px over dx. However, it is impossible to just solve it directly because this involves a lot of complexity. So how we are going to solve is that we are going to use the basic method of how we usually solve division without calculators. So let's begin. So I'll write down this whole equation inside this. So 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4, and outside here I'm going to write x minus 2. Okay, so now how are you going to solve this question is that you are going to find out what number or what value multiplied by x minus 2 you can get 6x cubed. Okay, so this might be a bit confusing at the beginning stages, but soon you'll get a grasp of it, so don't worry. So how I'm going to change x into 6x cubed? So to change x into 6x cubed, I'll be multiplying it with 6x squared. So 6x squared, now I would be multiplying this with this whole equation, and I would insert it into this equation. So minus 6x squared times x, you're going to get 6x cubed and 6x square minus 2 times negative 2, you're going to get negative 12x square. So after you minus off 6x cubed with 6x cubed, you're going to get 0, and negative 9x square minus negative 12x square, you're going to get negative 7x square. So now you bring up down the next value, which is positive 16x. So now what number multiply with x minus 2, you can get negative 7x square. So put a minus over here. So how to get negative 7x square from x square is that you would times this with negative 7x. So negative 7x times x, you're going to get negative 7x square, and negative 7x times negative 2, you're going to get positive 14x. So after minusing these both, you won't get an answer, and 16x minus with 14x, you're going to get 2x. And lastly, bringing down the negative 4 here, now we have to find out what number multiply with this x, you're going to get 2x, and it's very simple, just multiply with a positive 2. So 2 times x, you're going to get 2x, and 2 times with negative 2, you're going to get 4, and the answer is 0. So in this case, I actually hope that you've seen the tip of how to doing this, which is you have to see the first value of this, usually an x, and you see what number multiplying with this x, you can get the same number to remove it one by one. Like for this case, you see I remove 6x cubed using this, then following that I remove the negative 7x square, then following that I remove 2x and negative 4 together. So in some cases, yes, you can't remove everything because the question might have a denominator. So now what we are going to do is that initially I explained to you 4 important terms, which were dividend, divisor, quotient and remainder. So now we are going to find out all the 4 of them from this question. So as aware, we've already found out the dividend, which is dx over here, and the divisor, which is dx over here. So balance, now we have to identify the quotient and the remainder. So the quotient, as mentioned just now, is actually the answer, or the answer we get for the division, which is 6x square minus 7x plus 2. And the remainder for this question, if you notice here, there's no more remainder, so therefore the remainder is 0. So is it done? Is that the answer? Of course not. So before I move on to the answer for this question, let me explain another important thing, which is the way of how to write the answers for divisions between polynomials. So as mentioned here, it's actually the dividend divided by the divisor. So how do we express the answer is that we would express it in the form of px over dx, which is the division, is equal to qx plus rx over dx. So it's very important for you to remember this formula, or in a much simplified manner, how do we write it is that we multiply the whole equation with d to the power of x to remove the fraction, and thus we are going to get an answer of px is equals to qx dx plus rx. So that is why I said it was very important for us to identify all the 4 elements when we solve a division question, which are the dividend, divisor, quotient and remainder. So once we have identified all the 4, what we are going to do is that we are just going to substitute them into this equation. So let's just substitute them. So px is going to be 6x cubed minus 19x square plus 16x minus 4 equals to qx is 6x square minus 7x plus 2, dx is going to be x minus 2 and rx is 0. So therefore the answer for this division is actually 6x square minus 7x plus 2 bracket x minus 2. So this is the answer for this question. So now let's look at our second example. Divide x to the power 5 minus 3x to the power 4 minus x cubed plus 5 with negative 2x cubed minus 4x plus 1. So I've written down the working, and you may notice why there's a gap between here. So the reason for this gap is that there is an absence of the power of 2 and power of 1 of x in this equation. So I would leave a space here to make it easy for us to solve this question. So what are we supposed to do now is that we have to make this negative 2x cubed into an x to the power of 5. So how do we do that? We are going to multiply the whole thing with negative 1 over 2 x to the power of 2. So the multiplication of negative 2x cubed to negative 1 over 2x squared is going to give a result of x to the power of 5. And following with negative 1 over 2x squared times negative 4x, we are going to get 2x cubed. So since it's not a power 4, we are going to bring it directly down here, which is plus 2x cubed. And lastly, negative 1 over 2x squared times positive 1 is negative 1 over 2x squared. So we're going to solve this whole thing. So x power 5 is going to go out, and the remainder is negative 3x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed minus 1 over 2x squared. Okay, so now our next work is to make this negative 2x cubed into negative 3x to the power of 4. So what do we do now is that we are going to multiply this with positive 3 over 2x. So 3 over 2x times with negative 2x cubed, you're going to get negative 3x to the power of 4. Then multiplying it with negative 4, we are going to get negative 6x squared. So sorry, we have to write it under the x squared. So negative 6x squared. And multiplying this, we are going to get positive 3 over 2x. Okay, so let's solve this part. So this cancels off. This would become negative 3x cubed, negative 1 over 2x squared plus 6x squared. You're going to get positive 13 over 2x squared, and this would become plus 3 over 2x. And then we're just going to bring the 5 down here. So we just add plus 5 over here. So now what are we going to do as a final step to make negative 2x cubed into negative 3x cubed is that we are just going to plus 3 over 2. So 3 over 2 times negative 2x cubed, you're going to get negative 3x cubed. 3 over 2 times negative 4, you're going to get negative 6x. And 3 over 2 times 1 is still 3 over 2. So once you solve this, it's 0. 13 over 2x squared minus 0 remains as 13 over 2x squared. Negative 3 over 2x plus 6 is going to be positive 9 over 2x, and 5 minus 3 over 2 is going to be positive 7 over 2. Okay, so from this working we can know actually that this is px, this is our dx, this is our quotient, and lastly this is our remainder. Okay, so now let's write it down in its actual form. So these are the 4 things which we would need, and actually if you notice the qx, the quotient and the remainder, we can actually simplify it into a much simpler form where we are going to remove the 1 over 2 from it. So 1 over 2 negative x squared plus 3x plus 3, and for the remainder it's going to be 1 over 2 13x squared plus 9x plus 7. So now we are going to replace it in that equation which we wrote just now, which was px equals to qx dx plus Rx. So Qx is actually 1 over 2 negative x square plus 3x plus 3. Dx is negative 2x cubed minus 4x plus 1. And Rx is plus 1 over 2 13x square plus 9x plus 7. So a very important tip for this, as usual, as I say in most of my videos, do more practice and avoid careless mistakes. And so that's all for this video, guys. If you like this video, do like this video, comment if you have any doubts, share this video to your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. That's all for today. Thank you, take care, goodbye.